How's it going, everybody? This is Novakast back with another video for you guys. And in this one, we'll be responding to another video from K9-Aversion, also hypocritically called Defenders of Humans in the Natural World. And their, or at least one of their most recent videos, They Are Just Like Us. With a title like that, you kind of wonder what she's going to talk about. But without further delay, let's go ahead and get into this. And also, as per usual, we in Novakast do not condone any form of harassment, bullying, doxing, etc. So please, don't do it.
Recently, I received the following comment on one of my videos from Monica P. Jansen. She wrote, "Can you make a video about how dog lovers often say things like, think about how you would feel if you were in a cage or had to sleep on the floor, or if unfamiliar people just went to greet you to blah blah blah, to make people think how the dog is feeling if they are put in cages or must sleep on the floor, and other things, to make people think that dogs are as humans in their needs."
Something tells me that this isn't actually the case, and more like this is just more of an over-exaggeration. I mean, if anything, especially when it comes down to the situation, I think if it's more of understanding the animal, or at least, if anything, having knowledge of the animal, if that makes any sense. Because again, when it comes down to K9-Aversion and her ilk, they know jack shit about the animals that they're talking about.
Those who say those things annoy me to madness.
That's funny. I mean, I could have sworn I thought you were already crazy considering how many videos you've put on your obsession of dogs, as well as, the lack of any care towards humans or animals.
Because dogs are not thinking of needing comforts like humans, but the dog lovers think that they have the same needs to comforts as humans.
In listening to K9-Aversion, especially when it comes to talking about this, I think the real question is, why do you give a shit? I mean, really, it's none of your fucking business what the person does with their animal. It really isn't. And again, since you want to claim you're for, the safety of humanity, then actually talk about actual human fucking issues instead of your obsession and delusions over dogs. Fucking get a life.
So this is the requested video. There is a lot to consider from this comment.
Not really. I mean, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't consider this to be, a 15-minute video-worthy topic. If anything, you're just making a mountain out of a molehill when it comes down to something, again, that, especially when it comes to people who do stuff for their dogs, it's none of your fucking business. It really isn't. And it's not bothering you, so who gives a shit, really?
I have spoken before about the tendency of dog owners to put human feelings and motivations onto dogs in a process called anthropomorphism.
But that can be said about anything, really. I mean, by definition, anthropomorphism means to add attribution of human characteristics or behavior to a god, animal, or object. Quick segment on Wiki talks about the word itself, discussing is the attribution of human traits, emotions, or intentions to non-human entities. It is considered to be an innate tendency of human psychology. Personification is the related attribution of human form and characteristics to abstract concepts such as nations, emotions, and natural forces. such as seasons and weathers. So it's not just animals that have been anthropomorphized, it's a variety of other things. So don't claim it's only when it comes down to dogs or animals. Making a remark about that is very idiotic, if you ask me. That it's only animals that are anthropomorphized. Look at a variety of things in history, including art, and you will see this.
Or humanization. To suggest that humans are like dogs is called zoomorphism. Zoomorphism and anthropomorphism are two elements of a way of thinking that is typified by the reasoning that they are just like us and we are just like them.
So, while anthropomorphism is the human characteristics that are posed onto, things like animals, objects, gods, weather, etc., zoomorphism, which is the derivative of the Greek words zoon, hopefully I said that word correctly, which means animal, and morph, which means form or shape. It is the literal technique in which animal attributes are imposed upon non-animal objects, humans, and events. The animal's features ascribe to humans, gods, and other objects. Like, in some instances, like, let's say, just to give an example, in the situations with the Egyptian gods where there were animal characteristics to each and every one of the Egyptian gods, for using that as a perfect example. So, kind of giving that quick history lesson, I think it's very immature to just claim that zoomorphism and anthropomorphism is only specified to dogs, or at least trying to understand dogs, because again, anthropomorphism is the attribute of giving human characteristics to a variety of things that are non-human, whereas zoomorphism is giving animal characteristics, not just dogs, to human entities and a variety of other things.
It is a simplification of what it means to be a human, or what it means to be a dog, or any other animal for that matter. What I take from this comment is the concern for the comfort of dogs. In previous videos, I have spoken about this to some extent. People will spend money on comfortable bedding for their dog.
Yes, and I'm sure you've probably spent 20, 30, 40 minutes bitching and moaning about, something that, I'm going to be perfectly honest, is none of your business. Whether or not the person or individuals, purchase bedding for their dogs is no relevance to you. It has no concern to you, really. What the person does with their own money is, again, none of your fucking business. Really. None of your business whatsoever.
They will allow their dog to sleep in bed with them, despite the dirt, parasites, and smell that the dog will bring with it. The comfort of the dog appears to be more important than their own comfort or health. People will buy clothes for dogs to keep them warm and dry in bad weather.
Man, I gotta say, it must suck, being this delusional and this fearful about dogs. Especially when it comes down to, just letting just things that really don't matter to you get this much under your skin. I mean, really. It's almost laughable to an extent. And I know people are gonna say, "Oh, you're being mean to people that are hating on dogs." Again, I understand that people are afraid of dogs, but this kind of delusion is insane.
And they feel that they are contributing considerably to the welfare of the dog. I will continue to talk about dogs because dogs are the main species that generates concern about comfort.
No, fuck it doesn't, but go on.
There are a tiny number of other animal species that people take special care of their comfort, health, and general well-being. But the dog is the main species that evokes special concern.
Oh, there are greater things than, dogs being a huge concern to, public safety and all that. But again, go on. I'm curious what you have to say.
Racehorse owners, for example, will take very great care of their horses. But these horses represent a considerable financial investment in the first place, and the continued comfort and well-being of the racehorse is the difference between winning races and being a financial liability.
Okay, so you're gonna use that as an argument? Okay. Let's put this in perspective then. Okay. So the reason that you think that the only reason that people should give comfort to their animals is because of them being a source of income, so to speak. Because you use the examples of racehorses. Okay. But in situations where you have show dogs, where people have taken good care of purebreds and showcase them to a group of judges to see which dog breed is the best of that year or season or whatever, however they do dog shows. I don't watch dog shows because it's stupid. To me, anyway. Actually, if anything, it's like pageants, or children pageants for that matter. But when it comes down to it, you have a group of people who have taken extremely good care of their dogs and, to an extent, have made sure that they are well taken care of. And I would assume, especially when it comes to dog shows, you get some form of compensation for the winner, right? So, I'm sorry, but doesn't that count as a source of income for an individual? I'm sure, K9-Aversion would probably spin it as, oh, that doesn't count. I'm like, well, you just claim that the only reason people should be taking care of their animals is because it's a source of income. There's a source of income. I was going to say a bad word, but I'll just call her actions moronic.
There's a type of beef that is highly prized in Japan called Kobe beef. Extreme care is taken to ensure that the cattle that will produce Kobe beef are treated with great care and made very comfortable during their lifespan.
Since we're talking about that's it. The same goes for anything involving free roaming or free range beef or chicken or pork. I know a couple of people who actually have farms where they breed and grow certain livestock, but at the same time, instead of having it like factory farming where they're in cages and stuff like that, these individuals have their animals basically in open fields and allow them to free roam, do whatever they want, and when the time comes for them to kind of make their investment back, then those particular animals that are chosen will be taken to be slaughtered and then so on. My point being is it's not just Kobe beef that is an example of taking good care of your animals.
Again, the obvious motive is profit, because Kobe beef is very rare and, as a result, is expensive. There are only 8 restaurants in the whole of the USA that are licensed to cook and sell Kobe beef.
Yeah, but if you also wanted to, you can also, go to any store and look for anything involving, free roaming or free range farms. Again, because and not every farm is a factory farm, because I know a lot of people want to think that, but that is not the case. So again, what's this got to do with dogs and people wanting to take care of their animals that are in their house or on their property? I'm going to assume that she's going to try to make the argument that we can only give care to animals if they are a profit to us, because that's some low level just bullshit.
In both of these examples of the racehorses and the Kobe beef, the motivation for great care is profit. This is also true to a certain extent for show dogs that may provide a considerable earning potential for their owners if they are kept in good condition. Such dogs represent a tiny fraction of the dog population and may be considered to be separate from the average pet dog.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Are you trying to make the argument that people who take care of their animals, who aren't going to have their animals as show dogs, should be shamed for putting in money and effort to the care of their animals? I'm sorry, but that's some idiotic bullshit logic.
Why do dog owners often obsess about the comfort of their dog?
I think the real question is, why do you obsess over how people treat their dogs, or how people interact with their dogs, or care for their own animals? Because again, since it's not your animal, it's none of your fucking business, really. And it's kind of sad that, again, you're getting this butthurt over something that is a non-issue to you, physically and mentally. But again, you're making it your problem because, again, you have this hate boner for dogs.
Most animals sleep on the ground. Some sleep in holes in the ground. Some sleep in trees. Many sleep in hostile environments. Most animal species live outdoors in all weathers with no shelter or additional warmth.
Well, you just answered your question right there, because again, when it comes down to the wild, there's a difference between, situations where a animal is in the wild and living on somebody's household as a pet. I mean, okay, let's say, for instance, because you want to play this whole argument. Okay, would you feel comfortable with, let's say, hamsters, rats, or mice that you keep as pets free roaming around your house? Of course not. You'd rather have a particular cage or, let's say, tank or something to hold your pet mice, your pet rat, your hamster or guinea pig, whatever. You'd want something like that for those particular pets. What about reptiles, fish, or, if anything, snakes, for instance? You think that it's better that they are, have a chance to move around, right? Would it be better if a snake, especially some that are like, constrictors, would be free roaming around your house? I would assume not, right? To an extent, it's when it comes down to, especially when it comes down to, having pets, people are willing to spend that money to make sure that, one, the pet is safe, and two, it's more of a containment or a situation where the animal is taken care of. Regardless of whether it's a cat, dog, freaking, and just anything in general. People are willing to spend that money because, again, it's their fucking pet. And again, because I keep repeating myself on this, it's really none of your fucking business as to what people do with their pets. It really isn't.
They have no treats. They have no toys. They have no Christmas presents or birthday parties. They have no one telling them that they are good boys and girls. They have no human mums or dads or brothers or sisters. Most animals have only each other for company, and they have to cope with other animals trying to kill them. Dogs are considered to be worthy of comfort denied almost every other animal species.
Well, considering the fact that, unfortunately, compared with other animals, dogs, or at least their early ancestors, the wolves, were domesticated by humans way early on. Wolves, going forward to dogs, have served their usefulness to human society, especially when it came to hunting and gathering. So, to that regard, again, dogs have been proven to be useful, especially in current day, with dogs being trained to understand certain cues or, if anything, certain details in situations. Why do you think we use them for police dogs or canine police dogs, or using them in airports, smoking out drugs, or a variety of other things, especially when it comes to mental health and people who suffer from a variety of different other illnesses? Why do you think people have, to an extent, have trained dogs to sense or understand when people are having seizures and act upon that? Because again, dogs have been trained to do a variety of different tasks, and at this point have proven their usefulness in human society.
Dog lovers, the kind of people besotted with canines to the point of distraction, will have no problem answering that question. They have revised history and persuaded themselves that dogs have been our companions for an unspecified number of centuries.
Well, not really persuaded per se, because, if you really think about it, between 20 to 40,000 years ago was the first domestication of dogs. And again, since that time, dogs have continued to be domesticated, or at least been a huge part in human society when it comes down to what they do or do for us in our daily lives. So you can't just say they were persuaded to think a certain way, when in history that's been a constant, where we domesticated dogs originally for hunting and gathering, and as time has progressed, we've been able to train them to do a variety of other tasks. So you can't just say, because they just persuaded themselves. No, fuck off. You can't just make these assumptions and just assume that that's it.
They believe that dogs and humans have lived in harmony, mutually assisting each other since before recorded time.
Not really much of a belief, considering, again, when it comes down to history and evidence in history, as well as, research from a variety of different sites all around the world, we have over, again, 20,000 to 40,000 years ago domesticated dogs, or signs of domesticating dogs. So it's not much of belief, more of its historical fact, for that matter.
In that sense, they believe that dogs deserve special treatment as a type of thanks for all they have done for us over the ages.
That, or if anything, they're just, kind to their animals. Let me give an example, because this is actually really funny. Because I've seen a variety of different situations where people have housed animals like tigers or bears, as by the way, as cubs, as babies, like baby tigers, baby, bears, etc. And in their household, with a variety of different, making sure that they are comfortable, having blankets, pillows, etc. Having a place to stay. Heck, there are situations where people have foxes as pets. Freaking foxes. And like any other person, but I'm surprised she's actually not even talking about this. having a place, like a placement for that animal to stay, whether it be having like a large pillow for pets, making sure they have certain food, etc. Because at this point, especially when it comes to the animal, they want to make sure that the animal is comfortable. Especially since, it's not like, living in the outside anymore. It's, again, people who want to make sure that their animal's comfortable and want to take care of it. And I think that's if anything, the major point of it is, especially when it comes to their own household, it's not your household, it's their household. They can do whatever the fuck they want. I know I keep repeating myself on this freaking thing, but it's really the basic answer to this 15-minute video that this lady has decided to waste her time on. Why the fuck do you actually care? It's none of your fucking business what other people do in their own household. Get over yourself. Seriously.
This is not true.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
Dogs do not deserve thanks, nor do they deserve special treatment because they have done nothing for us.
Right. Nothing. Besides, again, being hunting and gathering animals, being used for police work as well as airports and for people to, sniff out contraband, like drugs, food, etc., as well as using them in medical situations when it comes down to people who use them as seeing eye dogs, as well as dealing with mental health, as well as indicating whether or not an individual is having a heart attack or seizure. But again, nothing at all. Fucking idiot.
Dog lovers rewrite history by claiming that the relationship between dogs and humans is symbiotic, each species benefiting the other equally.
I love the fact that this individual tries to claim that we are rewriting history, when in reality, she is trying to rewrite history, trying to claim that, they have no purpose, when in reality, history says otherwise. That we, again and again, I have to keep repeating myself because this lady doesn't get it. We have used them for a variety of different reasons and trained them to perform a variety of different tasks. And you trying to say that it's not the case doesn't work, okay? I know I know you live in this delusion that dogs are useless, and to an extent, I know, you hate dogs, but somewhere in your mind, you acknowledge the fact that dogs have proven useful in human society. But unfortunately, again, you allow your delusions to get the best of you, and I am so sorry for you. I, to an extent, pity you with how delusional you are. But I'm not going to feel sorry for you, especially, or if anything, I'm not going to a large degree, accept your delusions. Because it's unhealthy. It really is.
Not only is the symbiotic concept not true, it is the application of a $10 word to give false academic legitimacy to idiocy. If you live in a town or city that has its origins in the 19th century or earlier, then the animals you should thank for creating it are the horse and the donkey, not the dog, whose only talents are destructive.
You gotta love how she's trying to make her argument by only claiming a particular time period when not addressing the fact that, again, between 20,000 to 40,000 years ago was around the first time that we domesticated dogs. And throughout the years of humanity, have proven their usefulness time and time again, especially in situations when it involving, hunting, gathering, and the variety of different tasks that we have put them through.
Dog lovers tell us that dogs have provided us with emotional comfort, love, and protection. I have covered these subjects a number of times, but in summary, the emotional comfort a dog provides is in the imagination of the owner.
You do realize that when it comes down to, emotions, since you want to make this argument, emotions can also, if that's the case, by the way, then your fears of dogs are only in your own imagination. You do realize that that argument can be spun around back at you, right? Because in a sense, your fears are all in your head. If anything, especially if you, again, did the research and actually interacted with the animals you talked about, which, by the way, fun fact, somebody tried to spin what I said, or some of the things I said, against me, which I'm just gonna say it was idiotic to a large degree, especially with the situation where I said live and let live, which I personally think that all animals should be treated equally regardless. And when they even quote me saying that volunteer at a local shelter, which I also said that you need to do the research of the animals that you speak of, and also whatever happened with caring for nature. When I also say, especially in that previous video, which we're talking about, K9-Aversion is shaming a woman for pushing a bear to save her dogs, I mentioned the fact that it's hypocritical that K9-Aversion says she cares for nature, but excludes dogs out of nature. Because dogs, whether she likes it or not, is part of nature. So, I guess what I'm trying to, just getting at with this whole situation is it's hypocritical, especially with saying certain things about dogs and dog owners, when some of the arguments that she makes could be thrown right back at her. And this whole thing, again, with her claiming that it's all in the imagination of the owner. Well, your fears are the imagination of yourself. You fear dogs, then guess what? It's all in your head. I hate to be an ass, but if you want to play that argument, then we can play it right back.
Dogs are incapable of love, and most dogs will do nothing to protect you unless they have been specially trained to do so.
And you keep making the argument that dogs are worthless, yet you just said that they can be trained.
Dogs that are specially trained to attack on command have a nasty tendency to attack their owner or the owner's family, so any protection is unpredictable.
Not necessarily, considering that certain dogs who are trained as, let's say, police dogs or K9 units are also, at least the people that handle them, are trained a certain way to not use certain indicators that would cause the dog to attack people. Again, and if anything, especially with those particular dogs, they aren't used as a sort of family dog in most cases. Especially when it comes down to, using them for on-duty purposes.
If a person says that they want to do the best for their dog, surely that's a good thing. If they suggest that we should think about how we might feel in the dog's situation, then surely that is a right and proper invitation to empathize with another creature, one dependent on human care. It's not empathic at all It is very likely the opposite of empathy.
How?
First of all, the invitation to show empathy is not to be directed at all animals, only one species.
So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand this logic. So, is she trying to make the argument that we show, care for one particular animal because we house them, we, nurture them, we have, a place for them to sleep and be taken care of, but we can't do the same thing for other animals? I'm trying to wrap my brain around this logic, because it's idiotic. It really is. And oh my gosh, this is so fucking stupid. I'm gonna end it here because this lady is an idiot. I'm sorry. I know I sound mean, and again, this is idiotic logic. Because again, when it comes down to the whole situation, there's a difference between a wild animal and your own pet that you have in your household and what you do with them. And again, especially with it being your money, it's nobody else's business on what you do for your animal. It really isn't. That's the bottom line. And I kind of wish I didn't spend almost 40 minutes responding to this video. But the gist of it is literally this. Because I keep repeating myself. And I'm going to say it one more time. What people do with their animals, what people do to take care of their animals, K9-Aversion, is none of your fucking business. And you can't claim that people don't empathize with animals because they don't give the same level of treatment as they do for dogs. That is completely and utterly bullshit, especially in the case where, we have a variety of wild animals that can't be domesticated. Now, I will say that there's been cases where individuals have taken baby animals into their own household to nurture them and make sure that they grow up and then put them back in the wild. And in the sense, they do the same exact thing that people do for dogs. Bet you didn't think about that, did you? So don't play this whole, oh, the people that take care of their animals are bad, especially when it comes to dogs. If anything, again, especially with anything, it's none of your business. Grow up. You're what? You're a middle-aged woman? Grow the fuck up. And mind your own fucking business. If it's not your household, it's not hurting you. Period. But that's it. I'm done responding to this. This was 15 minutes of idiotic logic. What are your thoughts? Love to hear what you guys have to say. Like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow some social media, links are in the description down below, as well as check out your daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Novakast signing off. Have a good one and take care. Peace.
2, 3, 5.